recording. What's up, beautiful people? So with the Shining the Light series, we're back to our moments together, myself and Andrew Rezmer here from Conscious Living Radio. Hi, Andrew.
Hello.
So we've talked through a lot in these last 4 podcasts. I just want to give a little refresh as to what we've been doing and where this is going and how we're excited to continue to learn and flow and glow and grow. Sharing these wonderful aspects that we went over with the key points of structuring a system in a joint venture and how we're motivated. I'll just refresh a little bit how we're motivated, how we can strive to be benefiting each other without comparing our net worth and showing up and to share our life skills. Also, a couple other highlights of the other podcasts would be the research that it takes in order to do this and to finding the motivation to co-create and to deal with challenges, the motivation for growth and expansion, the feedback and changes. So we've talked a lot about in those first 3 podcasts. So I highly encourage you to go back to them if you want to hear a little bit more about the details of what Andrew and I were reflecting. And in this podcast, we're going to go into a little bit more of what was coming out of those podcasts and what we're building momentum for us to discuss a little bit more. So Andrew, let's get to what is the power of setting intentions and gratitude? Let's just talk about that. And then we'll move that into the following aspect of the question. So, what is the power of setting intentions and gratitude related to joint ventures?
Well, I think the intention, even the way the word is structured. I have this very amazing friend, Ivan Rados, and he pointed out that there's a tension inside the word intention, and the tension could be good or could be bad. If there is a tension that is something is restricting your movement, something that is kind of blocking your freedom, that's obviously not a good tension, unless it motivates you to get stronger, to be more passionate, to work harder. But there's also good tension, and the way I look at this tension inside the intention is like, I want to get there. That's my direction. That's my goal. That's my that's where I want to end up. So I'm imagining like a rope or a line that I'm connected. I'm here. I want to be there. And there's this line, that intention for me to get there. And that line, that connection is helping me to get there. So I'm creating a tension. So because if that line is between where I want to be and where I am right now, if that line is floppy, if that line is loose, I can go anywhere I want to go and I may never end up. That line is almost like a leash that is just keeping me close to the goal, but not really helping me with the goal. But if there's a tension continuously, okay, how can I bring myself closer and closer and closer to that goal? So that's the visual that I like to have when talking about intention. Is the ability to visualize to the outcome that I'm seeking and doing everything that I can to get closer to that outcome. So that's the the way I would love to address the whole concept of intention. And the gratitude is the most important, I think, skill and the feeling and emotions that we as humans can have, because that helps us to reframe everything that happens in our life. So let's say something happens in our life, and now we can have a different point of view. We can be annoyed by it, we can be angry with it, or we can be sad about it. All of those emotions are valid emotions. But if we allow ourselves to reframe and ask the questions, how can I learn? How can I grow from it? How can I become better human being? How can I be more conscious, compassionate, loving, understanding, forgiving human being? And how can I bring the gratitude into this picture? Now, those emotion that before was blocking my connection with the world, with what's happening right now the same thing is turned around. And I think John DiMartini, another person who I really love, and we was able to meet him multiple times, bring him to Vancouver. He has this amazing saying, the definition of forgiveness, and that links with gratitude. So he says, forgiveness, imagine if you can put yourself in this state that is emotional state, physical state, spiritual state, mental state, every from the heart point of view and the mind point of view, where you can look into what happened or look into someone's eyes or look into memory of whatever happened and really honestly say, thank you for giving me this experience. For,
Oh, yeah. Wow. Nice.
thank you for giving me this experience. I'm not saying that whatever that person did was just, it was good. Maybe it was wrong. Maybe it was violent. Maybe it was disrespectful. Maybe it was destructive. Whatever it is. But now I can either stay as a victim and look back into that incident and justify whatever my anger, my destruction, my whatever is happened. I can do that, or I can look back and say, what can I grow? How can I learn? How can I become a better human being because of that? And look back and really have gratitude, not for the wrongdoing of that individual, but for the fact that I became who I am because of that. Bring gratitude. Thank you for giving me this experience, whatever this experience may have been.
Powerful. So when taking the intention and the gratitude, the awareness, and then so visualization, I feel, should actually come through that too, because the whole point now is the action it takes to lead this joint venture with people as a community. So let's expand a little bit about, now that we know, the power of setting the intention, the power of gratitude and forgiveness, and how do you feel it's going to help, the building of a heart-based community now? Then let's expand more to visualizing, what a community would look like in that perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Well, so why do we even need community? First of all, I think that's, and then once we decide, one, do we need community? Then, and if so, why we need community? And then what kind of community is going to support the reason why we need it in the first place? Because it's a continuation. Just by going straight to the how the community should look like doesn't really. I think talking about it without asking what do we need community for is not going to answer that question, because there are different communities. Mafia is a community, government is a community, and so, and each of those communities have different why for its existence. So let's maybe start before we answer. I'm not trying to avoid answering questions, but I just want to have a conversation with you. What kind of community are you seeking to create, and why? And then we can say how and what that community should involve.
Yeah. So I feel like my why is a bigger why. My why is what nature has been leading me through, and then where happiness is. And so I feel like, the understanding that we're practicing our intentions every day of what we're asking for, then we come into a vibrational alignment with synchronicity, and what we're thinking, it manifests in front of us. So this is why my why is there. So there's been a continual confirmation of people showing up with the same reason of wanting to collectively work together. So that's what's created my why. is that I'm just like, oh, there's another moment I meet somebody that's thinking the same way as me. Oh, there's another moment that somebody's thinking the same way as me. I'm like, oh, okay, now it's time to utilize an opportunity to create a space for those people to come together. That's where my why is, in like how I've already set my intentions with what I was feeling in a moment of feeling good inside myself. And then when I came outside myself, I saw other people were feeling good in that way. And then what would it be like if we create an atmosphere where more of those people were together to help? I really feel like that's what I learned from the masters. And they're like, okay, well, what can help this world come more into a state of flow and peace is collectively coming together in that state of peace.
Mm.
Right. So for me, that's what the building of a heart-based community is. And then the joint venture is recognizing, like I said, is the growing aspects of where everybody is in their peace or in their personal growth with consciousness. So that's where there's going to be some, contrast. Like you said, that's where the tension's going to be in order to grow together.
Expand. Yes.
Yeah.
So what I hear you saying is just like the community that is driven by heart-driven values, which is, again, we listed them multiple times: kindness, compassion, understanding, forgiveness, support, love, versus community that is driven by greed, by hunger for power, hunger for control, by wanting to expand their physical control over other people or assets or whatever. So it's is that more or less correct differentiation between different type of communities? So, okay. So now within that community, one thing that I would urge to be careful with, because it's very simple to surround ourselves with people who are kind of copies or copies of who we are, and it's at the beginning, it's very easy to create a relationship with someone who thinks the way I think, likes what I like, uses the same language I as use, has the same goals and aspirations. So now it's, oh, you can finish my sentence, I can finish your sentence, I know what you're thinking. So it's a beautiful way to start, the being seen, recognized, acknowledged, respected, all those things that are beautiful. But there's very little space to grow. If I already know what you know and you already know what I know, there is no difference. There is no reason for me to learn something in order to understand something that I have not understood, to experience something that I haven't experienced before. So I think it's essential for community to be open to members of this community that may have different opinion, and be open to having conversation. Right now, Canadians is a community, but within that community, we have a group of trackers that have a certain value system, certain goals, certain specifically now related to COVID. And they got together and they created this group that is doing certain actions in order to help achieve certain goal. Within Canadian community, we have community government in Ottawa that is trying to get rid of those trackers. And both communities claim to serve for the benefit of others, for benefit of the entire country. Both of them have their own belief system that what we believe, what we want is better, for betterment of the rest of us Canadians. Yet they don't sit together, they don't talk, because they are so sure of each other point of view. Government is sure that that's the way to go about. Trackers are inviting the conversation. The government right now is not. Sometimes it's the other way around. But I think it's important when creating community, especially heart-based community, that the heart is open and our mind is open and our soul is open, and our spirit is open, and our arms are open. So that way, we're not just surrounding ourselves with people who echo exactly what we say, but we invite others who may challenge. And because by challenging, by opening, by trying something new, that's the only way to grow.
That was so good. So in the reality of how a community flows, obviously the reflective insight that I feel you're bringing in is already the communities are all there already. Now the access of us going deeper, I think, should be the focus then, because I saw the same thing while I was thinking through this. I experiment all the time with people that are reflecting in front of me, and I'll just be in a moment, I'll be thinking of, say, something that we had already talked in the podcast, and I'm like, let's see what this next person that's connecting to me feels or thinks about this, right? So
Mhm.
reflectively, I was thinking about, well, what's, like I said, prior to this podcast and talking and prepping, there is something so normal and so natural that everybody knows, is that all the communities are already there. All we got to do is show up and be open and available. Basically, that's what you're
Mhm.
saying. Now, but with the intention of it being a heart-based, some people go into a community that it's not heart-based. It's like, I'm coming in for dungeon sex right now, and I'm going to go into that dungeon and I'm going to be an animal and I'm going to do this because I set the intention to go into that community. So there
Mhm.
still has to be some fragments as to, even though there's an openness, there still has to be some, like you said, we went through the structure. There has to be some like-minded thoughts that we have about, what is sacred? What
Mhm.
are some of the rules that we want to abide by? Maybe you can talk a little bit about this. What are your feelings about how to structure that? Like when it comes into, a community with a heart-based, you know, ideally we have to have some values, but we still need room to grow, but there's going to be some foundational values.
Oh, definitely. Oh, definitely. Yes. No, I don't want to, allude to that we should have each person with a different point of view, because that would be chaos. That would be mess. That would be, everybody's pulling in different direction, and whatever we're pulling is eventually going to break, and we're going to fall. No, there should be. Yeah, so there should be definitely a direction that we all agree, or at least at the outcome that we all agree. There may be different paths to that outcome, and the discussion, the comparison, the who has more expertise, awareness, um, creativity. We can allow all of those values to be shared within the community. But one of the essential component is, where do we want to get? What do we want to achieve as a group of people, right? Right now, you and I, we created this small community of two of people, and now we're having conversation. We're using our heart, our brain, our soul. We are using everything that we have, that we brought in through my 61 years of life, through your 25 years of life, or
44 this March.
okay. So so now we have over 100 years of experience, and now we're bringing this with what is our intention? Our intention is to share, is to grow, to invite others, to make this world a better place from our point of view, from the point of view of what we believe is better, because other people believe something else is better. So now, so it's important that, to go back to your original questions, that we have as a group some underlying value system that we share, but we still ask ourselves, like lots of teachers in this space always say, surround yourself with people who are better than you, or who have the same values but are more experienced, they are ahead of you. And I usually, it never resonated with me, because it's almost like, okay, so I'm surrounding myself with people who I can use to drag me behind, because because I see them as ahead of me, or better in something. I think it's much more respectful, valuable to surround yourself with people who have intention of growing and learning from each other and are open. Like, if Mother Teresa surrounded herself with other nuns who were trying to make this world a better place, but never going out of their monastery and feeding those who are sick, those that are confused, those that are angry, she wouldn't be Mother Teresa. She surrounded herself with people who needed her. She surrounded herself with people who she could help and serve, not those that she can be served by. So we need both in our community. We need those who we can bring if they want to up themselves in life, and we can help them. We can pull them up or push them up, and we need people who can help us. So community should have all those different type of members, not just a copy of one member.
Well, I can see that that's coming. And I really feel the people that have been walking with us for a long time are financial portals. They're like a portal that have done the work in a solid way so that we can bring in the people that need to transform. So I think that that can be a whole other podcast in itself, where there'll be more invites to more faces in that, the growth and the building of the system that we're going to co-create. I'm just going to look here. I want to talk a little bit about attraction too, because we're only going to have so much time, and I know you need to get out. So we'll finish this up a little bit of attraction, and the signals that you've learned about what got you here and how you've been attracting each step with conscious living and coming into, sitting in the position that you are and educating yourself, but then the service and how that's changed a lot of people. So talk a little bit about what you've understood through the awareness of attraction and coming into the fruition of now opening this door with a heart-based community.
Yeah, that's actually fits very well to what we've been talking up to now. Is this, I started that. It's very easy to be attracted to similarities because it kind of reinforces what I believe is true. If I believe that being vegan is true, and I surround myself with other vegans, I reinforce that message, and all the information, the reasons why they decided to be vegan, and for animal rights, or for health rights, or for environmental, or there's many reasons why someone make a decision. So now I'm attracted to other people who have that because I can learn, and it's almost like validating. Oh, what I believe is actually true, because now I have thousands of people who reinforce what I've decided is true. That's one attraction. But I'm also attracted to people who I choose to find beauty and gratitude and attraction to people who are opposite of me. Because I want to see the world through their point of view. I want to invite them to see the world through my point of view. And now, if we are open enough, there has to be openness. If nothing really good comes out of force, if I'm going to force someone to become vegan and threaten them with penalties and whatever, that's going to create resentment, and going to, in most cases, some people are going to do that out of fear, but they are going to become victims, and they are going to be unhappy. Other people are going to do that, but really not believe if they are doing, so they are going to practically prostitute themselves. Okay, I'm going to do this because it's easier. And that could, and veganism is one, vaccination is another. There's lots of different areas where we can put that into perspective. And so now I choose to be attracted to similarities, but also to invite differences. Again, as we said, creating that opens my eyes to other possibilities to grow, to expand. And I may, at the end of the day, remain being vegan, or I may learn something that I didn't know that will help me to see why other people choose to do that. And instead of rejecting, instead of seeing them as evil, I can have a more compassionate, more understanding, more open point of view, because I allowed myself to see the world through their eyes.
That's so beautiful. Well, I think that's another really great way that we can end this podcast, knowing that we have short of time. You got the message behind you. Together we're better. That's the goal right now, is my slogan, together we're better, rising consciously. So I am so grateful to be here now, to be spontaneous, and to be on the receiving end of you receiving me, and an opportunity where we can lead and also help serve the community. So viewers, have the time to listen, to contribute your views. We'll be creating more of a system where there'll be better threads. We'll create more together, and how we can have you guys cooperate with us, and how we can have more input and grow together as a community. Thank you so much, Andrew. So good to be with you.
Thank
Enjoy
you.
your time today, and namaste.